Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. I tell you, I miss the human beings. They're I just, it's so good to see my family here. You look great. Even the photograph ones look great. Of course, we all look good in the photographs. Uh, so it's all good to see you. We're going to have this town hall meeting uh, as a sort of end of spring semester. We will have more, and as we move forward. So I really want to take more time answering questions or any concerns you may have. So I will kick off the meeting with a quick report to kind of give you where we're at the state and district and college, and then turn it over to a quick report by the vice presidents that may want to pursue some of those issues with regard to summer courses and other activities we're doing, preparing for the fall, enrollment, those kinds of things. So, and then really open it up to questions and talk about our plans to have a great summer. So it's a beautiful day today. And we are still in stage 2 of the coronavirus. The LA County is hoping to move us to stage 3 at the appropriate time. And the governor is also making some changes, and there are down the road possibilities of dining that can occur later in stage 2, perhaps, and churches can go ahead and have services. However, they're still advising they would recommend you doing remote services until we're in a better situation in stage 3. The budget is we're following that very closely. We know we're getting a 10% cut of community colleges in the state, and the only ones that are continuing funded is Disabled Student Services and EOPS were fully funded of their allocation. And so, but we have to prepare for a cut. Now, the cut statewide translates to our district between 50 to 60 million for fiscal year 2021. And we're not sure about the exact number. We've heard different approaches. That has to do with trying to figure out lost revenue that we've encountered this spring with regard to particularly revenue that we bring in if we were open, with regard to rentals and film productions and fitness center and a lot of things that occur. There is lost revenue there. So we're calculating that right now, each campus, to see what that looks like. We also know there's been a hit on C's funding that will be tightened. We have to tighten our belts with regard to how we proceed with our C's funding. So there's some of those issues that we still have to work out and get some numbers for. But the district or the chancellor has put together a team to review the budgetary situation. I'm on the team, and we've had a couple meetings to discuss how we move forward. The two fundamental principles that we've all agreed that must be kept is, number one, protect our employees and make sure our employees are fully funded and supported in their positions, faculty and staff. And number two, protect enrollment and make sure we don't close our doors and we lose students because we didn't provide the courses they need and they want. So those are two fundamental principles that are guiding our work. And we're looking at ways to reduce the budget that do not impact those two principles. And so we are finding some ways we can do that, that can help us meet that $50 to $60 million shortfall. So that's going on right now. We don't have complete guidance yet on that. Right now we have possibilities and scenarios, and that will be coming to a head at the June 3rd meeting of the board. The board will be meeting June 3rd, 3 to 6 p.m. And so they will be discussing this issue of how to address fiscal year 2021. And again, we're going on the data that we have with regard to the state. The governors may revise. The legislature is meeting to confirm a budget by June 30. But again, this may change with July 15 tax receipts. Hopefully, they're going to be better than envisioned. And then August 15 would be another revision to the budget. But right now we're planning for that 10%. Finally, the other thing I wanted to mention is we are discussing how to allow faculty to take equipment home if necessary. And it'll be done by a case-by-case basis with justification submitted to your vice presidents. And there will be guidance from Human Resources on how that's to be processed. So that is occurring. And tomorrow, I do have a meeting with the CSU 5, the 5 Cal States, and the 9 LACCD presidents and chancellor will be meeting to discuss transfer and what the situation is. So CSUN will be on the call, Cal State LA and the 5 in LA County. And we will begin to deliberate what, if any, we're going to do, what we're going to do with our Cal States in terms of transfer and support. And then the other thing on the budget side of the house is we're going to review all contracts, meaning all the colleges will take a look at their contracts that are being proposed, and we may not proceed with some contracts right away. We may postpone them to save dollars. So I'll be reviewing all proposed contracts of the college, from administrative services, academic affairs, as well as student services, to see which ones are critical, necessary, essential functions, and which ones we can postpone and save some dollars in 2021. So that's kind of another scenario we're working on how to go about that. And that review will happen. I'm starting to review it now for the board agenda, and we'll be in touch if there are any that you've proposed as to, what you might want to do with them. Let's see. So that kind of is my report real quick. And I'm going to ask Nicole if she'll talk about the spring hard to convert courses that we plan to have. Go ahead, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. So I've been working with the faculty and our facilities team along with a group of folks from the district that put together some guidelines for us. And so we've put together a very robust programming template, which will include how faculty will screen students for their health, how we will ensure that we maintain our safety ratios and our spacing, that we have the supplies necessary to be able to adequately disinfect the areas, and restrooms and other going to be maintained so that we're able.
Our internet connection is, I think, being disrupted, Nicole. Sorry about that. So yes, let me finish up what Nicole is saying. We have a comprehensive template that looks at the hard to convert courses. Right now we're talking about biotech, CNA, and a couple other courses. And the faculty are filling that out. It's going to be completed by May 29th. All 9 campuses are doing this for the spring courses that have to be completed. And it does include health and safety protocols, supplies necessary, administrative services, maintenance operations are on it, and they know what they have to do to make it happen. So we are moving forward with it. It's following LA County guidelines, and we will make sure that everyone is safe and secure. And then Larry, do you want to talk about the CARES, the second the remaining money of the first allocation, and plans for that?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Perez. And I just want to echo what you said about these beautiful people. Looking at them is one thing, but also the work that's being done that we don't get to see now as we would have in the past has been amazing. So I want to thank our faculty, our staff, our student workers who do such an incredible job. I don't think anyone could have predicted that we could make a transition this quickly into this remote world, but leave it to our team. And I think Mission College is at the precipice of this whole movement, and I just want to express my appreciation to all of you. Yeah, Dr. Perez, with regard to the CARES Act, you all have heard that Mission College, all the colleges in the district and the state were awarded some funding from the CARES Act. We got about $2.9 million. Of that, the first half, or first tranche, they sometimes refer to it as, 1.4 million, about 850,000 has been distributed in the form of $300 refunds to our Pell eligible students. We recognize that we have some remaining funds in the amount of about 621,000. And right now the district is looking at a way to get those dollars out to more students, more than just the Pell eligible students. So we're looking at the Title IV eligible students. Now, it doesn't include some populations. You probably heard international students, AB 540 students, undocumented students aren't part of that. But a large number of students will qualify, and we will get additional refunds. They're coming in the form of refunds in the one mobile bank accounts. And that will happen for many more students. So we're looking forward to that. In terms of AB 540, we have not left AB 540 out. We are doing everything in our power to do things equitably. So those students that are AB 540 or undocumented students should also be getting $300 refunds. That money is coming thankfully to our ASO, who generously pledged $60,000 and a little bit of money from our C fund. That will make up the dollars that go out to the AB 540 students. So I thought, to our ASO, great credit to them for stepping up. We really appreciate them. And then Dr. Perez, I would say that, on the student services side, the move to online services has been, we've had some challenges, but in some ways it's been seamless too. And that's a credit to our counseling faculty, our classified staff, our student workers who all work together, been trained on the Cranium Cafe platform. And we're starting to see the advantages of being able to connect with students using that platform. And I hope that will continue to get better and better at it as time goes by. And we're distributing Chromebooks. We're still getting Chromebooks out to our students. We had about 332. That was a recent shipment that we received. And we got out about half of them last week, and we're hoping to get the remaining out to students by the end of this week in time for summer courses and fall courses. Dr. Perez, you're muted. Maybe I have to.
I keep on muting myself. Promptly, Carol, we will conclude this meeting before 1 o'clock so that the commencement committee can convene. But you all know June 9th, 5 p.m., we are having our virtual recognition ceremony. And Alejandro will make sure that you get a link to YouTube and Facebook so that you can view the entire virtual recognition ceremony. And thank you, faculty, for your videos. And the students have done some videos, and the photographs are in. Finally, I want to thank the faculty. You raised about almost $2,000. The faculty donated for emergency aid, emergency grants to students. So I want to thank the faculty for that generous donation. I'm going to ask Tom Jacobs-Meyer if he has anything he would like to offer with regard to the Emergency Operations Center and activity on campus. Tom? Okay. Basically, Tom has done a good job with Andy Good around what to do with supplies. And we do have a new procedure that will conserve some of our N95 masks and some of our cleaning supplies. So instead of 5 days a week, or in terms of cleaning particular bathrooms, we're going to close some bathrooms and clean twice a week, some deep cleaning there. That would conserve our masks instead of 11 weeks to 22 weeks. And we need to do that because we do have masks on order. The district has masks on order as well. But we've got to have these supplies if we're going to open up, particularly in the fall, somewhat. Tom, did you have anything else to offer?
Yeah, I just have to train myself on how to undo my microphone. So many of you probably don't know, but the college meets every day with the Emergency Operations Center at the district office. We are considered an ICC, a smaller version of the EOC up at the district. So we share information every day and we exchange the processes and progress that the district is making regarding managing the district or getting classes back together or keeping the colleges clean, those sorts of normal day-to-day operations. And we do that every day. So it's not like we're just sitting at the college by itself and operating our own college. We're really running it together as a district. And I think doing a pretty good job of it. As far as mission goes, the restrooms are cleaned regularly and daily. We are having some issues with our N95 masks, but the district is looking for a large contract to replenish all of those supplies and be ready in the event that classes would start up. If you do come to campus, make sure that you check in with the sheriff before you go onto the campus and proceed to your destination. They're logging and tracking everybody who comes in and leaves, principally because that's the best way for us to know who's on campus. And when we shut things down or have an issue, then we would be able to find everybody without any real delay. As far as mission and the $10 million cut that the district is currently looking at, I'm estimating the missions cut of that will probably be less than $1 million. So as the time goes along, we'll be working on taking a look at what is involved in that less than $1 million cut. And we'll let you know as soon as we've figured that out. We also have some minor savings in our power requirements due to the startup of the new power station from the bond program. So, you know, every little bit helps, and that's probably going to help us out a little bit also. So that's the end of my comments.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Yes, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you closely on the budget for mission to soften the blow and to ensure that we're in good stead. I do have to notify everyone, the district budget committee did recommend to the chancellor for debt forgiveness of all 9 colleges. And so that's going to be sent to the chancellor, and then he'll take it to the board for their consideration, which would allow us to have a clean slate in fiscal year 2021. We just have to be sure that we plan ahead and not get back into any kind of deficit mode. So that's, I think, a piece of good news with the district budget committee's recommendation. So I would like to open it up for questions. And we have, thank you, Dr. Perez. Do we want to congratulate the new department chairs? Yes. Congratulations, new department chairs. I'm very excited for you and look forward to working with you closely. Let's give them a hand. You stepped up to the plate and you're going to do great work because we continue to do great work. there's an issue whether the USPS mailbox on campus is being serviced. Also, was question whether mail packages received on campus were being forwarded to recipients. This from Jay Macuso. Tom, is there still an issue with the United Postal Service mailbox? Are we actually servicing it? Is it being serviced?
We are. You can see there's a response from Lisa right below Jim's comment,
Oh,
and
thank you.
she says USPS is being serviced every day and the mail's being sorted. Packages are going through Jason.
Okay, great. And it goes on. Is Jason leaving it inside the offices?
I
I'm not
believe
sure.
he's distributing it in the mail room.
Okay, good, good. Let's see. Yes, they are. Okay, thank you, Lisa. All right, other questions? If you want to raise your hand, go ahead, and maybe Alejandro can unmute you.
We just got
Okay.
a question from Carol in the chat box.
Carol, thank you. What does full-time faculty hiring for next year look like? We're proceeding with the non-credit counselor position, and we're proceeding with the geography and Chicano studies positions. So those are still being considered and will be processed as we move forward on the interviews, the virtual interviews. We do have to be very careful to make sure our budgets can handle this, and enrollments connected with those departments are robust. Based on what I've read so far, they are. The non-credit faculty member, a good deal of that can be assumed by the adult basic ed funding, although that's been cut. The one that's really been severely cut, and we're fighting to preserve as much as possible, is strong workforce dollars. The CTE dollars, CTE programs that were supported by strong workforce. Strong workforce was cut almost 60% in this fiscal 2021 budget, and it's a huge loss for all of us in LA County. So we're fighting real hard to try to get that lowered so it's not 60%, but it's going to be a challenge, and we're going to have to do some prioritization about how we want to move forward with our strong workforce program. The mail room is open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 1:30. If the door is shut when you visit, bring your PA2 key. All right. Let's see. Miss everyone. Yes, we miss you too, Michael. Milagros says, hi, Dr. Perez. You mentioned new department chairs. Who's the new department chairs? Let's see. Nicole, can you give us the name of all the department chairs?
Sure. So in the library, Al Ibarra was elected as department chair, and in social sciences, Ebru, I can never pronounce her name correctly, Durikian, is for social sciences. And then in health and human performance, we have Cindy, make sure I get this right, Cindy Cooper. And then the other chairs that were up for election in the Global Languages and Society, which is ESL and Sociology, is Jacob Skelton. And then Stephen Brown and Mike Fenton and Vilma Bernal all were reelected to their seats.
Very good. So the
And then one more, we got counseling, the counseling department, Christine Karinian. So.
Oh, thank you, Larry.
Sure.
So we'll send out an email with the names of all of the happy department chairs that we have, and I'll get something out to you. Now, can the department secretaries please get a list? Okay, we will do that. And as for the unemployment, Par asked a question. As the unemployment increases, we need more CE trainings at community colleges. Absolutely. Now, one of the things that Governor Newsom would like, as you know, and we want, is federal assistance. Now, there is a bill that was passed by the House called the HEROES Act, and they have acronyms for everything. But this has to do with federal support for CTE, career education programs, and unemployed, dislocated workers, all of those individuals that have been hit hard through the economic downturn. So we are lobbying that we get a good portion of that money to go back into strong workforce or to the community colleges so we could do the training. There's going to be a lot of training that needs support. So we're banking on, hopefully, the federal government finishing up that bill. It's in the Senate now, and the Senate is reviewing it. They tend to want to do more for, the big issue for them is liability for small businesses, to ensure that they're not liable for if a small business opens and somebody gets sick, they don't want the small business to have to pay for the liability. So that's what they're back and forth. That's one of the issues they're back and forth on, but we're pushing really hard to get those funds. Yes, dislocated workers, for students for essential job. Do you have an idea of the critical essential jobs? No, I don't have a crystal ball on that yet. I'm working with the LA Orange County Regional Consortium of all the 19 community colleges in LA County, and we're beginning to discuss what that means. And so that will be communicated with Nicole and with the Marla and others, and we can start bringing in the faculty to have those discussions. How do we prioritize what are essential? With regard to our student workers, we have, HR has a list of essential workers for our district, and a list of those essential workers, student workers that are needed. And we do know that, for instance, in the CDC, the student workers provide, they're essential because they do provide the support necessary to meet state guidelines. So there are categories that we're going to be paying attention to quite a bit. There was an issue of proctoring of testing online. What is offered to instructors for this purpose? Nicole, proctoring testing online, are we doing something with that with GED, I think, or is Callie doing something with that?
So we are doing some testing in non-credit. In the future, we'll be doing that probably at our Sunland Tahunga location, but I believe this question is regard to faculty being able to have exams proctored in the online or remote environment. The district did provide us with assistance from the Chancellor's office with a service called Proctorio, which does allow faculty to have student examinations and quizzes monitored in the online environment.
Okay, good. So if the faculty member wants more information, they should contact their chairs and deans for support, and then you can help them move forward with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Now, with regard to, is there a plan, Anna is asking, is there a plan to return in the fall if LA County reopens? Yes, we're working on a plan now. In fact, the presidents have a committee working on the hard to convert classes for the fall, along with the DAS, District Academic Senate. There is discussion around how to make that happen. What are the policies and procedures we need to follow? Health and safety under stage 3 guidelines by LA County. So the plan would be first to pay attention to the hard to convert. Right now, we've said to everybody, summer is online, remote, and we've said to everybody the fall is pretty much online, remote. However, we will offer some classes that are absolutely necessary. And so there's a subgroup working on that now, particularly the allied health fields, nursing. We're working very closely with the nursing schools, the CNA. We have to have some guidance around that. So yes, the planning is going on now. I can't give you the specifics yet, but I do know various factors are being brought in to ensure that we can have those courses. Will all courses be open next fall? No, that's not going to happen until we reach stage 5, which is, you know, the complete recovery of the coronavirus infection. Can we get the word out to our, this is by can we get the word out to the ESL students, non-credit about the wonderful resource of Cranium Cafe? That's a good one. Larry, can we get the word out on Cranium Cafe to our bilingual communities?
Yeah, we can. I mean, one of the things that we're trying to do with our student services online platform is make sure that all the areas are represented. So I know we have a plan, and Tyler's been great with Perdana working on getting that set up. And I believe non-credit is going to be one of our icons where students will be able to click on and be able to see Cranium right there. They'll have the counter. They'll be able to access the folks that are connected to counter. I believe Kelly and Marianne Glendo have worked on setting something up, but I would defer to them on where they're at with regard to Cranium.
Okay, good, because if you could get the word out on that and work with Marianne Galindo and Larry and Kelly, so our ESL folks can have access to Cranium Cafe, that would be great. Vilma is asking, are there any talks about employee furloughs or layoffs at any level? No to layoffs. There's no discussion of layoffs going on right now. The furlough issue has been brought up, but it's being examined carefully because a furlough does disproportionately hit certain groups. And so we need to pay attention to the furlough. The furlough is that you take, say, 1 day a semester off, and so that's been somewhat discussed, but it hasn't been decided at all. Let's see. Fall schedule will be available Friday, May 29th, and priority registration begins June 8th. So good to know. I'm going to ask Nicole, where are we with summer enrollment? I don't have it in front of me. Where are we right now?
So in most of our departments, our summer enrollment is about 70 to 75% full. In some areas, such as the sciences, we're in the 90% full range. We're currently filling our dual enrollment classes, and a majority of the open seats we had in dual enrollment for our regular students are full as well. So we're looking to be right on track. We're a tiny bit larger than last summer, but we're looking to be right on track with our FTS goals for our summer sessions.
Very good. Okay, good to hear that we're moving forward with offering these courses to our students. Then Kelly does say Adult Basic Ed is using Cranium Cafe. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that answer. So we are using it, but we got to get the word out. A follow-up on Anna's question. Is there a plan for staff to return for summer or fall, even if courses are online? It'll remain currently the same. That is, if you have an essential function and you need to come to campus to conduct that essential function, you would go through your appropriate vice president for permission to do that. There's no plan for faculty staff to come on campus during the summer on a consistent basis. Still, the plan is to follow the protocols of stage 2. And then when stage 3 comes, we'll have a plan. It'll be a guidance of who, when, and how people can come back on campus. So that's where we are right now, Milagros, in terms of where we are. Then Carlos has a question. Non-credit has Cranium set up. Kelly and his team have done a great job in offering these services. Okay, good. So we're really moving forward with Cranium Cafe, and I really want to applaud the counselors for, it was a little difficult at the beginning, right, Larry? I mean,
Yeah.
it was hard to learn, but we learned it, and in fact, we were one of the leaders in the district that implemented it. So
and shout out to Leslie Fernandez, who's been been key with that. Leslie's been amazing, so I'm going to point her out especially.
Okay, Adrian is asking, President Perez and VP Nicole, pictorial software is not ADA accessible to DSPS students. I didn't know that. Pictorial software.
Proctorio, right? Proctorio.
Proctorial. Okay, he says pictorial in his spelling. I'm sorry. Proctorial. Tell me, Nicole, do we have a substitute for proctorial?
I was informed that it was compliant, so I put a note into Adrian that I will follow up with the district. And thank you for the information. That had not been shared with us.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Adrian, for that. Par, can instructions to use Cranium Cafe be provided in different languages for the new ESL students? Yes, I think we can do that. And Alejandro can help us with that. I know we can do it in Spanish. We have Armenian speakers that can help us with that. And we have some other individuals that could help us with that. So I will ask Larry to kind of follow up with that, Larry,
Yeah.
to see if we can offer instructions in various languages.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Business office is on Cranium Cafe as well, thanks to Leslie Fernandez. Yes, Leslie, thank you so much for helping us get that done. Okay, I'm open to more questions.
Just a couple questions that we missed, Dr. Perez. One was from Cyan Holland. Is the district anticipating an increase in enrollment or a low enrollment factor for fall 2020?
Let me say that we are trying our very best to ensure that we don't drop enrollment in the fall. We actually are interested in pursuing some possibly increased enrollments. Of course, dual enrollment is going to be continued. Mission has been leading the way on much of dual enrollment because K-12 in particular has lost learning in the spring, and they're requesting assistance from community colleges. In our case, Northeast LAUSD is requesting additional courses from us to help the youngsters that missed out on English and math in particular this past spring, and that's why we're offering that. The other is the, unbeknownst to us, although we did have a good idea this may occur, is some of the four-year university-bound students may opt, and we are hearing some are opting not to go to the four-year university if it's all virtual, and to go ahead and stay home and take community college classes for GE. And so we've already seen an uptick of that. We did offer a fast track, which was a way to say to individuals, hey, you can finish some of your GEs with Mission College. And that filled up significantly. And I think we offered, Nicole, I forgot how many sections, but number of sections. West LA has seen an uptick on science courses because some colleges are not offering anatomy and biology and physiology via virtually, like West LA is. So they have an uptick on their enrollment for those courses. So given all of that, plus if we can get the federal assistance with career education, career technical education, and strong workforce support, we'll see an uptick on individuals taking those kind of non-credit courses as well. So, you know, it's hard to tell, but at this point, we're not planning for a downturn, no. Alejandro, another question?
Yeah, we have another one here from, well, there's an email attached to it, but it says, how are adjunct classes assignments offered to adjunct faculty, I think is what they meant.
Nicole, you want to answer that?
Sure. So typically, and we're a little bit behind this year given some of the deadline changes, but the department chairs will work through assigning our full-time faculty and then in seniority order offer assignments to adjuncts. And if we still have assignments left over once those have been made, then the faculty department chairs will go back through and provide a second opportunity to folks that are on the seniority list. And then we can go off that list once all of those offers have been made. And we're currently in process of sending out our summer assignments, and we'll continue once our fall schedule is posted for our fall. I will say that we have been in discussions with LAUSD regarding fall dual enrollment, and they're still working on their schedule and their bell schedules. So any assignments that will be for our dual enrollment classes will be coming out a little bit later than usual this year.
Okay, good. Good to know. And then Johnny, thank you so much for the info. He put on the chat where we can find out Proctorio accessibility, a link to their website. Veronica Allen, you're right. You just read an article about possible surge in community college enrollment, and that's kind of what we're hearing and beginning to see already. And, you know, tomorrow when I meet with the Cal States, we'll see what they're predicting, but I think they're going to ask for more assistance from us to help meet the needs of their students taking GEs. Ree Park says, if students want to repeat a class they had this semester, can they do so by just re-registering for the class in the fall? Normally, students have to fail, not pass, the class to be able to take the class again. Some of my students want to repeat a class in the fall, even though they have passed this semester. Nicole, what's the answer to that one?
So typically that would be something that would not be allowed, but the Chancellor's Office did lift part of the Title V regulation regarding repeatability, and students are able to repeat even if they received a passing grade. I'm not sure how that mechanism is working internally. They may need to fill out a petition with admissions and records, but that is something that is allowable in the short term.
Larry, do you know the answer to that? Is there a petition or some way?
Nicole is right. We should go through the petition process. I know it's a little different for the EWs, but for this, I believe that we should have a petition. So if anyone has a student or students that have a need to do this, they can contact myself or Carlos Gonzalez, and we'll get them routed to where they need to make sure that they can retake the class without issue.
Great. Elea asks, are there any updates on student work assignments? At this point, no, Elea, we're still working on that because we're finishing up our June 30 closeout of our budget and planning for 2021. The allocation that we are going to have to live with, given the $50 to $60 million cut. I will say that student workers, many of them are not necessarily on a general fund. A lot of them are on categorical programs or specially funded programs and so forth. So those won't be impacted generally. So we will keep you informed on as we move forward with that, and your supervisors as well as the vice presidents will be able to put that information out there. Faith wants to know, can you explain Calbright College and will it take some of our students? Well, Calbright College, that's the online college, right? That
right.
State Chancellor pushed and the governor supported, $20 million a year, although they've cut their budget. Governor Newsom has reduced their budget of Calbright. And there's a lot of sentiment that in the legislature that we don't need Calbright, that in fact, we have colleges that offer online courses to individuals that are particularly in career education, technical education programs. So I'm not sure Calbright's going to survive the cuts. It has so far been reduced, but not cut. So I'm not sure if Calbright's going to be around next year. That's one of the ones that the legislature doesn't necessarily feel is fantastic and important as the main colleges. the 115 community colleges. From Nicole, yes, students can re-register even if they passed, okay. Angela is asking, CalWorks has instructions on how to access online services through Cranium Cafe in English and Spanish. We also have step-by-step instruction on how to add, drop LAMC. Good, so we do have it in Spanish, but I would like Larry to look into Armenian and other languages that we could also make it available in perhaps Chinese, Korean, and other languages that our community is engaged in. That would be good. And then thank you from Sian Holland. Thank you. That's encouraging news. Well, yes, I'm trying to be encouraging this time of Zoom madness, but we'll get there. Rosalie writes to state guidelines do not allow repeat of classes with C or better. If a student wishes to dispute a grade, that can be arranged. Okay, I'm confused now. So
let me chime in because I believe Nicole is correct in the guidance. So what we'll do is we'll get in touch with district to get the language clear so that our admissions folks are on the same page. It seems like Rosalie hadn't heard from her admissions group about this, but we'll make sure that it's very clear.
Yeah, because it's new
Yeah.
guidance, Rosalie.
Yeah.
The state chancellor did just recently new
Yeah.
guidance on this. Given the coronavirus, there's exceptions being made. And Ree, good to hear from you, Ree. You're saying, well, maybe they can audit a class. So that's always a possibility too. That's good to have. And of course, Nicole said the chancellor's office lifted the regulation, which we just discussed. Tracy, Nicole, are they still having to go through the EW process? Those that want to repeat, do they have to go through EW to repeat? No.
Nicole, replied to that, I believe.
I'm sorry, you guys are way ahead of me. I'm not reading as fast as you. I'm looking at your faces. Okay. And then Monica wrote, with the students be graded on the repeat? Will the students be graded on the repeat? What's the answer to that? Nicole?
I'm not sure on how that repeat grade is calculated. So I believe in our, when they're doing the research with the district, can be, take that into consideration and respond.
Okay, so we'll follow up on that one and get some guidance. That's good to know. Again, a lot of this is, new exceptions that are coming from the state chancellor and from the state. And then we have, can you please give us an update on the CDC and how the budget will impact services to families? So we do have a committee. I'm on this committee. We need to meet. This is the Chancellor's Cabinet Committee about CDCs and what we need to do with CDCs. And so more guidance will be coming out on that. We did receive from the county, and you probably saw it. I sent it off to Nicole and, let's see if I have it here in front of me. Nicole and Larry on childcare programs during the COVID-19 pandemic from LA County. Should you consider opening? Will reopening be consistent with applicable state and local orders? Are they ready to protect children and employees at higher risk for severe illness? Are you able to screen children and employees upon arrival for symptoms and history of exposure? If there's any no, don't open. If you can't do those three things, don't open. Then the next thing are recommended health and safety actions in place, and they give you a checklist. Promote healthy hygiene practices such as hand washing, employees wearing a cloth face covering, intensify cleaning, sanitation, disinfecting, encourage social distancing through increased spacing of small groups, monitor distance between children, not playing together, maintain distance between children during nap time, adjust activities and procedures to limit sharing of items such as toys, belongings, supplies, and equipment. Train all employees in health and safety protocols. If there's a no to any of those, don't open. You don't meet safeguards. Then they go on, is ongoing monitoring in place? So the three, should you consider, are recommended health and safety actions in place and ongoing monitoring in place? And ongoing monitoring has to do with making sure that if the child or employee shows signs or symptoms, they need to be, you need to have procedures for that. You send them home. Anybody who gets sick must stay home. And there are another checklist of about 8 items. So if it's yes to all 3 of those major items, then you may be able to open. So that's the latest guidance from LA County Public Health. We're reviewing this carefully, and we'll be meeting with the CDC directors to go over all of that. We do need to make sure we have sufficient supplies for deep sanitation and cleaning. So there's a lot to it. And these are children. And, you know, I know we want to help the families to get back to work. And of course we do. And we want the children to get the education they need and the care. And I understand all that. But on the other hand, we got to follow the protocols laid out by the LA County. So that's a long answer to say we don't have guidance yet. We have some general, or rather LA County prescriptive information about how we go about it. But the district needs to decide if we're moving with the CDC directors on how we go about reopening our CDCs. Okay, Tracy said, sorry, I meant context repeated class. Do they need a petition EW? I think we answered that. Nicole, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, we answered that. Thank you for that, Nicole. Regarding EWs, Nicole's correct. The student just needs to email admissions records at lamission.edu, and the district will email the request for the EW. Marianne Galindo, good to hear from you. Big thanks to Dr. Perez and the VPs for your hard work during this crazy time. So, thank you. I haven't gone crazy yet, and I must advise you, between Zoom meetings and Zoom instruction, take a walk. Do take a lunch break if you can, or a break. It helps you stay sane. Okay, Angela, can you please provide links on how to add drop? Okay, I think somebody answered that for you. Okay, so somebody answer Angela's request about add drops. Yeah, that would be great. I think Carlos can answer that one. And Aaliyah missed the message. No, there's no report yet on student work assignments for July 1 and beyond. We're getting close to it. Steve Rise asks, I heard that new international students will not be admitted for the fall. Is there any talk about this, and might it change? I haven't heard. Larry, have you heard that? I know that Ludi had a meeting on that. What was decided?
I had heard the same thing. I want to go back though and find out the source of that. And maybe Katie and I were talking about it. And I don't know if Katie's on the call. She could probably answer. But I had concerns about that too, because of students being able to get into the country, and then, you know, what that would look like for them in terms of residence and all sorts of challenges. So I can look into that though, Steve, and try to get confirmation.
That's good to know. And I must tell you that based on what I've read and some of the experts in international student coming to the US, there's pent-up demand, meaning they know they're not coming this fall, a lot of them, because of restrictions, particularly in China, but in other countries as well. Also, many of the parents don't want their children to go to the US right now because of the pandemic situation. So there has been an issue there. On the other hand, what I'm hearing is the demand is pent up, meaning we probably will get, once we get to stage 5, or get to a place where we can accept people and we have a vaccine or therapeutics to address coronavirus, we will see a surge of international students coming to the U.S. This is what the sort of crystal ball is saying in the international groups. It's like, you know, you want to go to a restaurant, but you can't. They won't let you in, of course, because of the restrictions. So you do carry out. But as restaurants open up, you see the lines. They're huge. Some of these places, the lines are there because people want to have that experience. Sort of, it's kind of a weird analogy, but that's what international students are saying. And particularly in countries like India and Africa, I've heard there's still a real desire to get a U.S. education. And the thing that I think we need to be aware of is community colleges are becoming more and more attractive to international students because they realize that not only is it less expensive, but that it's a gateway to the four-year university. And so they're beginning to see this as a real option for them. So I would say, Larry, if you could check that out, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
As of now. But I think we need to make plans a year from now to perhaps open our doors again to international students.
I noticed Par just sent an article from Inside Higher Ed on international students too. So she put the link in there.
Good, good. And my sense is, from what I'm hearing from the experts, is they don't necessarily want to send their children to dormitories. They like the idea of them living with a family because that's more comfort zone for them. So community colleges, we don't have residences. I mean, the majority of us, of course, don't have dormitories, but we have communities that would accept students as in their homes as a tenant. So I don't know. I'm open to that conversation. Let's see. So let's see, we've got from Carlos, that CalWorks, okay, that link for Cranium Cafe. And thank you, Par, for that article. I'll read it. It's going to hopefully verify what I just told you, what I'm hearing from the international associations. Is it possible to just have international students limited to online classes for now to get those funds? You know, that's a really good question. In my conversations with the international experts last week, because they called me and they want to know if we were going to plan ahead for international students, that would be an excellent question. Why can't we accept international students? Larry, I don't know what the restrictions are with regard to visa or anything with regard to a student in India taking an online class at Mission College. Is there?
Well,
we need to pay
let's
attention.
see that Par's sending more information. I will confer with Katie, who is our kind of resident expert when it comes to our international students, and find out if I can get specifically what options we have with regard to online.
Okay. For those of you that need to go to the commencement committee, please do.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this hour together. I will get another email out to all of you. Are there any last minute requests or suggestions? All right, you all. You're right, Larry. Aren't they beautiful? It's good to see you all. And those of you who can join me on Thursday with the student Zoom meeting, town hall meeting, please do. Thank you all. Have a good one.